Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament. We're reading Luke's Gospel, chapter 20, and we're up to verse 20. And this is the famous pericope about paying taxes to Caesar, which is both in Matthew's Gospel, and it's following on from the previous pericope in Matthew, and also it's in Luke's Gospel, following on naturally there as well in chapter 12. Kai parateresantes apostolan enkathetus hypokrinomenus hiautus dikaios enai, hina epi labon tai autu logu, hosti paradunai auton te arche kai te exousia tu hegemonos. Paraterio is to keep a close watch on, so having kept a close watch on him, they sent enkathetus. This is an interesting word. It's only here in the New Testament. It is classical and it's in the Septuagint. It's literally someone who sits down to do something. So then it comes to mean someone who is suborned to do something, and hence comes to mean spies. It's an odd word here, but so they sent spies, hypokrinomenus. This is a good classical use of the verb. Hypokrinomai is to pretend. In fact, we get our word hypocrite from this, and a hypocrites was originally an actor, someone who pretends to be somebody else. The original meaning of it was an answerer, I think, and hence the idea being that in a Greek play the actor answers the chorus or speaks to the chorus, and hence hypocrites came to mean someone who pretends to be something else, and then it comes to mean hypocrite in the modern sense. And here it's got the classical sense of pretending. So anyway, they sent spies pretending themselves to be dikaios, just, so making out that they themselves were just. Hina, in order that, epi labontai, from epi lambanamai, well, it's to take hold of his speech. So we might say something like to latch onto his word, to latch on to something he says. Hosti, so as paradunai, to hand him over to the arche, to the authority, and to the, or perhaps to the ruler, and to the authority of the governor, the hegemon. Literally leader, but it comes by this stage to mean governor. Kai ep erotesan auton legontes didaskali oidemen hoti orthos leges kai didaskos kai u lambanes prosopon al ep aletheas ten hodon to theou didaskes. And they asked him, saying, from ep erotao, O teacher, oidemen, we know hoti that you speak and you teach orthos rightly. Kai u lambanes prosopon. Now this is a definite Hebraism which you get a lot of in the New Testament. In fact, you get new forms from this. It's quite common in the Septuagint. It's a Hebrew expression. It generally means to show partiality. And you'll get prosolampsia, the abstract noun, the showing of partiality. You get prosolampsio, the verb, to show partiality. You'll see this compounds of this and words formations from this expression quite commonly, especially in the latter part of the New Testament. You see quite a bit of it in the Epistle of James, for example. So you do not show partiality. It's almost like our expression, you don't take things at face value. Al ep aletheas, but you teach the way of God. Ep aletheia, well, in truth, probably. It's idiom, it's probably adverbial here. truly. Exesti hemas Caesari foron dunai estu. Is it lawful for us, dunai, to give, infinitive from didomi? Phoros is a tribute. It's obviously connected with phero, to bring or carry. So phoros, it's a good classical word again, to give tribute to Caesar or not. Katanoesas de auton ten panorgian epen pros autus. And having understood their panorgia, their wickedness. This is again a good classical word. It's a little, it comes from pas upon, or the erg root is, the org here is from the erg root. So one who does lots of things and gets up to no good in the process, and now we get this abstract noun, so wickedness. Having realized, having understood their wickedness, he said to them, Dexiti moi denarion, show, it's from date numi, show to me a denarius. Tinos eke ekona kai epigraphein. Of whom does it have the image? So whose image does it have, and epigraphe, and inscription? Ekon, we get the word icon from that, it means an image. So whose inscription does it have, and epigraph or inscription? Hoi de erpan, and they said Kaisaros, this is genitive. And they said, understand, it has the image of Caesar. Hot de apen pros autus, and he said to them, Toi nun apodati ta Caesaros Caesari, kai ta tu theo to theo. Toi nun is therefore now, or therefore then. Now this actually isn't nun, which is noon with a long accent. This is actually the enclitic nun with a short u, which doesn't occur normally by itself in New Testament Greek, but you will see it in classical Greek, and you can see it's enclitic. It's put the accent back on the previous syllable. So it's not now, but then. So it's then, give back to Caesar the things of Caesar, and understand, give back to God, ta tu theo, the things of God. Kai uk iskusan epilabesthai autu rematos enantion tu lau kai thomasantes epite apokrise autu esigesan. And literally they were not strong enough. So Luke again uses, he's quite fond of this word, to mean to be able to. So they were not strong enough, they were not able to latch onto his word. We had logos used here before, now we have rema, third declension noun. So they were not able to latch onto his word in front of the people, and having taken fright at his answer, having been, well, perhaps, sorry, amazed, having been amazed at his answer, rather than taking fright, sorry, it's thou Mazdo. Having been amazed at his answer, esigesan, from sigao, they were silent. We have another pericope, again, this is just following straight on Matthew and straight on from Mark. Proselthontes de tines ton Sadducaion, hoi, and then we get in brackets, antilegontes anastasin me anai, ep eritosin auton. And certain ones of the Pharisees, having come beside him, those saying the resurrection not to be. So those who saying there is no resurrection. With the anti, it's slightly more awkward. It's those who speak against the resurrection as not to be. So it's been put in square brackets here. They asked him, from eratao again, Legontes, saying, Didaskale, O teacher, Mouses egrapsen hemin, eantinas adelphos apothane ekon gunaika, kai hutos ateknos hina labe haidelphos autu ten gunaika, ten ex anastase sperma to adelpho autu. We get a quotation here. The quotation here is, I'm not quite sure where that's from. It'll tell me at the bottom. It's from Deuteronomy 25. So, O teacher, Moses wrote for us, if a brother of someone might die, having a wife, kai hutos, and this must be referring to the tinos, in fact. Oh no, sorry, no, it doesn't. It's this brother, and this one might be ateknos, might be without children. In order that his brother, so it's not in order that, but that. So he wrote to us that if the brother of someone might die, being married, having a wife, and he might be childless, he told us that his brother might take the wife and might raise up seed for his brother. This is this so-called levirate marriage, which presumably was still a practice in some parts of Palestine at the time. Presumably, otherwise it wouldn't have been mentioned here. So this is this funny levirate marriage, which is mentioned in the Old Testament. Hepta una delphoi eson. Therefore, there were 7 brothers. Kai protos labon gunaika apithenon ateknos. And the first one, having taken a wife, from lambano, aorist participle, he died ateknos, childless. It's alpha privative here. Kai deuteros, and also the second. That must be one of the shortest verses. The shortest verse is, I believe, and Jesus wept, with 3 words. Well, this must be one of the shortest verses in the Bible, and also the second one. Kai tritos ela ben auton, and the third one took her, hos autos de hoi kai hoi hepta u kat ele pontekna kai epithenon. And also the third one took her, understand in marriage, and likewise also all the 7, likewise also the 7, and they did not leave children, and they died. Most unhappy family, really. Husteron, and afterwards the woman died. Hegune un ente anastase tinos auton genetai gune. The woman, therefore, in the resurrection, of which of them is she a wife? So the woman, therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife is she? Literally, she becomes the wife of which of them? For the 7, hoiga hepta eskon autan gunaika. For the 7 had her, this is the aorist from echo, as a gunaika, as a wife. Kai epen autois huiesos, hoi huiutoi ionos tutu gamusi kai gamiskontai. So Jesus said to them, the sons of this age. Now this is this use of ionos in the sense of age. It may mean of this world. This is a word with very fascinating history and lots written on this word. which I won't go into, but we'll just say the sons of this age or sons of this world. Gamusi, from gamio, they marry, kai gamiskontai. This is an iterative form. It's from gamisko, which is an iterative form formed from that same gamio root. It means to continually give a bride, understood in marriage. So they marry and they give in marriage. It's middle, not passive. There is a verb in the middle, gamizdo, which is used in the passive to be given in marriage, but this is not it. This is the middle form from this, to continually give a bride in marriage. Hoi de kataxiothentes tu ionos ekenu, tu kain kai tain anastasios tes eknekron, uti gamusi uti gamizdontai. Now there's the one I was mentioning. This one is passive, from gamizdo. But they, now this is from kataxio, from kataxio, which it means being deemed worthy. So those who are deemed worthy to meet with, this is tunkano, and it takes a genitive. This is a good classical usage of this. Tunkano you often learn just means to happen or take place, but the earlier meaning, the more classical meaning, is to meet with, and it takes a genitive. So those being deemed worthy to meet with that age or that life, and to meet with, understood, the resurrection from the dead. And this is interesting to compare this with what's in Mark and Matthew. Luke makes a little bit more point about here. This kataxiothentes is very Lucan. We get ute, neither do they marry, nor are they given in marriage. So this is the passive from gamizdo. So that three different verbs, gamio, gamiskamai, middle, and gamizdamai, passive, are given in marriage. Ude, for udega apothenein eti dunantai, for they are no longer able to die, is angeloi ga asin kai huioi asin theutes anastasios huioi ontes. For they are not able to die, for they are like to angels, from isos and angelos. They are like angels, and they are sons of God, being sons of the resurrection. Hoti de egerontai hoi necroi, but that the dead are raised, kai mauses emmanusen epites batu, hos lege kurion ton theon Abram kai theon Isaac kai theon Jacob. Jacob, I should say. So that the dead are raised, passive here from egero, even Moses, or perhaps Moses also, or even Moses, menuo is to divulge, so to make known. So even Moses made it known, epites batu, at the bush. This is from batos. It's a second declension feminine noun, as you see from the article here, and it's referring here to the burning bush, of course. So well, again, it's interesting that Luke is supposed to be writing for a Gentile audience, so they wouldn't know necessarily what this batu was unless they knew their Septuagint, because this is the burning bush. When he says, or rather, when he speaks of the Lord, now kurion without the article is used in the Septuagint for Yahweh, for God. So when he speaks of Yahweh as the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob, Theos de uk estin necron alatzonton, for he is not the God of the dead, but of the living. Participle from sao. Pantaska autotsosin, for everyone lives auto in him. Apokrythentes de tines ton grammation epan didaskale kalos epas. And certain ones of the scribes, having answered, they said, O teacher, you have spoken well. Uk etigar en tolmon ep erotan auton uden. And for no longer, this is from tol mao is the verb, it's an alpha contract verb, no longer did they dare to ask him. Greek does double negatives, so we would say anything, the Greek says nothing. So no longer did they dare to ask him anything. We following on now, again following on directly, same in Matthew and in Mark, follows on with this question about David's son, which is again, have a look at the commentaries on the interpretations of this. Apen de prosautus, and he said to them, Pos legusiton Christon eino David huion. How do they say that the Messiah to be the son of David? Doesn't decline, so this is a genitive here really. Autos gar David lege en bibliopsamon, for David himself says in the book of the Psalms, and the quotation here is from Psalm 110, Apen kurios to kuriamu. For now, kurios without the article generally is used to translate Yahweh from Hebrew. And I haven't looked up the original Hebrew of this, but without the article, it's Yahweh says to my Lord, literally. Sit ek dexion mu, this is idiomatic. Literally it's on my right, or from my right. And this is plural here, but it's just plural for singular. So sit on my right, always the place of honour. Heos an tho tus ekthrus su hupapodion ton podon su, until. Tho is the subjunctive from tithemi, aorist subjunctive from tithemi, until I might place your enemies, hupapodion, underneath your feet. David un kurion auton kale kai pos autu huios estin, and therefore David calls him kurios, well, perhaps Lord or Master, could be Yahweh, and how is he his son? It's very elliptical pericope here. I'll leave it to the commentaries to explain it a bit more carefully. Akuontes de pantos tu lau apen tois methetais, in brackets out two, genitive absolute, and everyone, all the people hearing, they said to the disciples, perhaps his disciples, if you read the autu, proseciti apotone grammation, ton thelonton peripatane en stolais, kai philunton aspasmus entais agorais, kai protocathedrias entais synagogais, kai protoclisias en tois depnois. Keep back from, so it's almost beware, so keep your distance from the scribes, those wishing, participle here in genitive in apposition to the scribes, those wishing, peripatio is to walk around, or perhaps almost parade around, in stolois, literally with stoles. We get our word stole from this. Well, it's just garments, I think. I'm not sure quite how to render that. It just literally means a stole, something you wear around yourself. And again, in genitive in apposition to the grammation, those loving or enjoying greetings from apospasmos, from aspasmos. Aspasdomai is I greet. This is greetings in the agora, in the marketplaces, and the protocathedrias. These are the first seats. We get our word cathedral from this, where the bishop sits. So the chief seats in the synagogues and the chief, places of reclining in the dinners, so at dinner. Hoi katestiusin tas oikeas ton kai keron, kai prosphase macra prosukontai, hutoi lampsontai perisoteron korima. And they devour, from katestio. Estio is to eat, katestio is to gobble up. It's a word used generally of animals eating rather than humans. Here it's devour. The oikias, the houses of the widows, and prophase, this is a dative from prophasis, so by way of excuse they pray makra, long prayers. This is actually an adverb here. They pray for a long time. They pray long prayers. They, lepsontai, future from lambano with the nasal mu here, they will receive the more excessive krima judgment. A comparison here from perisos. So they will receive the more excessive judgment. And that is the end of chapter 20.